Welcome to the Insurance Brokers Podcast, Helpful Hints. Here we break down the best, most informative bits of our full-length interviews.
You've touched on something that I come up a lot against, it's a question that's often asked to me. Marketing in our industry has got a little bit of a fluffy reputation. And what I'm often asked, and you're talking about metrics, and that's the way we work as well, is how can I tell you that this marketing spend will generate this opportunity, closed business that's converted? And I think you're absolutely right. There's a process by which you've got to test that, but you should always be able to test it. Nobody should be telling you need to spend £1,000 a month and we're not sure what we'll be able to bring in. And I think that has traditionally been a bit of a problem. And you should absolutely be able to attribute a spend to a conversion. What kind of metrics do you guys deem as appropriate? What kind of things should people listening, when they're looking at their marketing spend with whoever it might be, what kind of conversion rates do you deem to be sort of average or acceptable?
Well, I'm going to address the first point you made about the fluffiness. Yes, there is a preconception that marketing is all fluffy and colory and we make lots of nice adverts and that's it. The reality is the fluffiness element, if you like, is about 10% of the entire marketing mix. 90% is analytics, figures, lots of division, lots of question marks and lots of testing matrices thrown in. I wish it was more fluffy, but it's not. It is really quite numbers based. So what I think metrics wise and looking at costs, again, it's a really difficult one to try and append on a single basis. And by that I mean, if I give you an example as to what I mean by that, if you run a TV ad and you've got an 0800 number, you can very easily say, right, we've spent £1,000 buying the space for that ad to run during Coronation Street, for example. And it costs us £1,000. It would actually cost you a whole lot more, but just for the sake of this example, it costs £1,000 to run it. And we got 10 responses. So those 10 responses ended up costing us £100 per response. The product we're trying to sell costs £500. So it's £100 for someone to ring us, but then we know that only 50% of them will actually buy the product. So in actual fact, it's costing us over £200 to get a qualified lead, but we're selling it for £300. So the marketing acquisition cost is almost 50%. So it's not worth doing it because it's too much. It's too expensive. That's a very easy way to measure marketing success. Where you have a service industry, it's a lot more difficult because you do lots of different things to try and get interest and try and get an appointment or ultimately a piece of business. So it's really hard to sort of say, right, well, if we do this one campaign, it's going to cost £500 and we're going to get 10 policies sold so we know it works. We could do that having not done any marketing prior to it, and we might get 5 leads. We could have done loads of marketing in the background. We could have done email campaigns. We could have connected with them on LinkedIn. We could have spoken to them for 2 years trying to get an appointment. And then this year we try it, and all of a sudden, we're generating a lot more appointments because of all the work we've done. So it's a lot more cost efficient this time to do it. So, the metrics, you have to look at it in the longer term. And you have to look at it, I would say, probably over 3 years. Because, you're not going to generate much in year 1. You're going to have a little bit more success in year 2. By year 3, you should then have done or be generating quite a bit of business because you'll have established brand awareness. You'll have hopefully gotten to know the person. So it's harder. But if you want to look at it on a strictly cost versus response basis, yes, every year, every campaign you do, look at the amount you're spending, look at the number of responses you're getting from it, measure it, divide one into the other to tell you how much each response is costing you, and then decide whether it's profitable or not. But if it's not profitable in year 1, don't just write it off, because in this business, we renew. You're not going to have the same marketing costs in year 2 or year 3. So again, that's why you need to look in the longer term.